senior, Ms. Higginson, who had a great rendition of the national anthem, and the pianist who we could not see, was in the room next door, Joshua Kennedy Nunez, for also delighting us with his presence. Also, we have Captain Donative from the 33rd Precinct. We have also Jessica Reynoso from the Public Advocate's Office. We have Mariel de la Cruz from Scott Springer's office. We have Eduardo Hernandez from the Dominican Council General, Aldrin Bonilla from Borough President Gail Brewer's office. We have also Maria Lizardo from Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation, Luis Viorio from Senator Alcantara's office, and we have also Philip Rivera, who's the CEO from the 46th Precinct in the Bronx. Welcome to Manhattan. So as you know, this is a large district that stretches all the way from 120th Street on the west side all the way up to Van Cortlandt Park. And on the east side stretches from 96th Street all the way through East Harlem and Harlem, and it goes all the way up to Gun Hill Road in the Bronx, all the way up by Montefiore. And it's a very diverse district. If you have the privilege of being where I am, you can see what this district looks like. It's very diverse. You have folks from all over the world. It has the iconic capital of the African diaspora, Harlem. It has the cradle of the Hispanic experience in New York City, El Barrio. It has Hamilton Heights, Washington Heights, Inwood, Marble Hill, Kingsbridge, and the whole Northwest Bronx. The west side, a little bit of the west side of Manhattan as well. So it is a very diverse district, probably one of the most diverse districts in the country. It has perhaps the largest concentration of medical institutions. It has Mount Sinai Hospital, it has New York Presbyterian Hospital, it has Harlem Hospital, it has Montefiore Hospital, and they are the biggest employers of this district. They provide the most jobs. You also have some of the most prestigious academic institutions: Columbia University, Yeshiva University, City College, Bronx Community College, Union College. And so you have a very rich district surrounded by parks, beautiful parks, green area. And I'm very blessed to represent it. And in the first 100 days, in the first week of our work, as you saw, I want to thank all of those that were able to go down to Washington. There was something like 10 or more buses that went down to the official swearing in the Capitol. And then, of course, we had another local ceremony here at Yeshiva University. And I want to thank all of you that shared that moment with me and my family and the community. As well as it gave me the opportunity, just the first week, to deliver the first statement on the floor of the House of Representatives. And of course, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, by the way, this is the same thing, was thrown upon us, right? And so the repeal and replace effort by the Republicans were thrown upon us. And so my first opportunity to speak on the floor was defending the Affordable Care Act, not just because of the pre-existing conditions of clause in it that it allows people who have diabetes, who have cardiovascular problems, who have asthma, who have any kind of condition to access health care, not only because you can keep your children, your grown children in New York State through 28 years old, because also it provides extra dollars for the Medicaid and the Medicare program. It provided funding for mental health services, an area that was spotty with funding, that always lacked the appropriate funding. It provided funding for the opioid drug crisis, prevention and rehabilitation for drug abuse. It also closed the donut hole for seniors and the cost of prescription drugs. So this is a historic piece of legislation. I equate that legislation to Medicaid, Medicare, and Obamacare. I see health care coverage in that realm. And so for the Republicans to launch an immediate attack on it, I found concerning, and I was compelled on my first opportunity to speak in the floor to speak about the Affordable Care Act and what it meant to people in my district. And over 56,000 people are recipients of participating in the program. And so I felt compelled to speak about it and continue to fight. Also during that week, the first week, I became a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, also the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and the LGBT Equality Caucus, and joined the Black, Hispanic, and Asian Pacific caucuses in opposing the confirmation of Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education for her lack of knowledge and understanding about public education. On week two, I was appointed to the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. And these are difficult times that we're living as a world. The world is not a safe place right now. There are conflicts in different regions of the planet, and we're concerned, and they're often interconnected, and we're concerned about peace in the world, we're concerned about war, we're concerned about hunger and famine, we're concerned about migration patterns, because immigration is not just a local issue. It's a global issue of inequality, basically of income inequality, of poor people moving to countries that offer jobs right across their border. So I look forward to working in that committee with the ranking member, Elliot Engels, who's the congressional member for the North. And we have already begun to deal with some very, very important hearings of classified and confidential information about what's going on with the intervention of Russia in our democracy, what's going on with Syria and the bombing in Syria, and why the president did not come to Congress to ask for our advice before he struck Syria, whether he plans to come back to Congress to discuss the possibility of engaging further in that region of the world. So this is a very important committee. It is a committee that will deal with some of the most critical issues across the world, and I hope to be a strong advocate for my district and the United States in that particular committee. I also took, in the second week, the opportunity to denounce Jeff Sessions' comments. And I felt Jeff Sessions is the Attorney General for all of us, and he's supposed to be someone that protects the rights and privileges and the benefits that apply to all of us. And so he has a very spotty, troubling record, history of, first of all, back in the 80s, being denied a judgeship because of his racial comments. On the floor, the Senate himself said that Dominicans had nothing to offer this nation. So I immediately came up and spoke about Jeff Sessions and the fact that we could not trust him, that we felt he wasn't fit for the job. And in fact, then we know what we know now, that is that he lied under oath, that in fact he had some real contact with the Russians during the Trump campaign. So week number 2 included some action in that area. We also urged President Trump to reject a policy agenda that will harm women, starting with the efforts to repeal the ACA and defund Planned Parenthood. Week number 2 was also was like the first week of hard work, and we joined members of the New York delegation in a letter to President-elect Trump describing the impacts that ACA repeal will have in the state of New York, and urging the president to discontinue any efforts on the repeal. Also, we honor the 32nd anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr. I released a statement commemorating the life and legacy of Dr. King, who continues to be a light of a vision for our nation. His legacy continues to be an important legacy for our present, our past, our present, and our future. Neighbors, many of our neighbors came together, as you saw in the video. We came together at the Malcolm X Betty Shabazz Memorial and Education Center, and we held a meeting there, a forum, where we pledged to stand in resistance to Donald Trump on the same day that he was sworn in as president. And so we were joined there by hundreds of people. I think that if you look back now and you see what has occurred since then, the fact that General Flynn had to step down from his appointment, the fact that President Trump could not receive the votes that he needed to repeal and replace Obamacare, the fact that Bannon had to step down for the National Security Council, the fact that he had to resort to the nuclear option to get a Supreme Court justice appointed. Clearly, his first 100 days have been a total failure. And I think that we need to continue to organize, to mobilize our community, to continue to put the pressure on as we move forward. On week number three, I was appointed as a member of the House Committee on Education and Workforce. This is an important committee because it is the committee that the former congressional member of this district, the first congressional member of this district, Adriano Espaillat Jr., chaired. And he did historic work in this committee. He was the architect of the social safety net that we often take for granted. But the services that we get through the safety net, poor families, working families, even middle-class families, was all the work of the late and great Adriano Espaillat. And now I am a member of that committee, and I hope to continue to work very hard to ensure that we protect the safety net as his members. I introduced in that third week a resolution honoring Juan Pablo Duarte Day. The resolution commemorated Juan Pablo Duarte, the founding father of the Dominican Republic, and Independence Day in the Dominican Republic, and also held a press availability in my Northern Harlem office, in the flagship office on 125th Street, to discuss President Trump's executive orders and the ramifications to the immigrant community of those executive orders. So we have hundreds of people attend that meeting, and of course, these executive orders were pushed back by the courts, another failed effort by the president as he tried not only to enforce a Muslim ban, but he tries to rip